I may have shared this with you before. My father used to have a perspective that when you look for someone to make a change about some issue or problem, as minor as picking a piece of paper up off the floor, or as major as fighting racism or climate change, that the tendency is to wait for they or them, the amorphous they, to solve the problem. Older people, political figures, business figures, someone else will do it. And he'd look at me and he would say, if you wait for that, you could wait forever. The they is you, son.
Business with a servant's heart. Welcome to the podcast. Business with a servant's heart. Listen to the podcast. We're all about to talk on life. Our guest will share his life story. We want you to success in life. We're ready and we will start shortly. We're gonna talk on life. We're gonna talk on business. You're gonna shine bright. We are gonna witness.
Shout out to my sponsors, A Mind for All Seasons. Your brain is your greatest competitive edge, so why not optimize it? Just text OPTIMIZE to 72000, 72000 for instant access to 6 quick videos that help you think faster, remember more, and stay focused longer. A big thanks to Epic App, the 4-step storytelling system I use every day to connect and to convert. Try it free. Email me at stever1961@gmail.com. That's stevr1961@gmail.com, and I'll get you the free app. Doing Business with a Servant's Heart was just named top 6 in small business marketing. Thank you, everybody, for listening and watching. Welcome, everyone, to Doing Business with a Servant's Heart podcast. And we're going to say doing business and sports with a servant's heart. My gentleman today, my guest, he's been on before. This is part 2. You'll recognize his name. I like to throw these. Jerry Maguire movie was all about him, and he's worked with Hall of Fame NFL athletes and all kinds of athletes. But his story is amazing because he's a servant's heart. And we're going to talk about his book, The Comeback, and what a comeback it was. There's a lot of comebacks in sports, and I can't think of them off the top of my head. But, well, let's use the hockey team, 1980. This year they won what a great comeback. What a great game. Well, do we have comebacks in life? I want you to think about that while you listen to Leigh today. Our gratitude for today is I love to start with some positivity because we're going to add more to that. Thanks for spreading sunshine wherever you go. This fits Leigh to the T. As I told him before the show, I've shared some of his stories with people, and he's really impacting people. Let's bring Leigh on. Leigh, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Steve.
You're very humble and transparent in the book. I read some excerpts, and up and down life. You've been at the top and you've been at the bottom. What inspired you to write this book?
I felt like that in life, we all confront challenges. And there are situations in which every plan that someone's made all crash and their dreams crash. And it could be because of marital problems or relationships. It could be because of health issues. It could be financial issues, or it could be addiction. And we all confront these. And the question is not whether or not something like that might happen. It's what you do when it does happen. How can you rebuild your life, find resilience, see the light at the end of the tunnel, and step by step rebuild what you've lost? And I tell my own story with my battle with alcohol 20 years ago and how I've recovered. And I also tell the story of different athletes who had unforeseen challenges that they needed to somehow resurrect from. So it's meant to hopefully inspire people who might be out there still suffering, or people who may in the future think about the issues of recovery and rebuilding and resilience.
Yeah, that's the resilience, especially nowadays with the world. And we're in 2026. We need a lot of that. This book comes at a great time. What was the inspiration to start the book besides your story? Was there an event, a moment that like, I got to tell this story?
I always knew that I've been public about my alcoholism, and I always knew that there was an audience out there that was still struggling that potentially could be inspired. But we all confront these different issues. So I had written Winning with Integrity about the art of negotiating. I wrote The Agent, which was an autobiography. I co-wrote a book on athletic concussion, and I thought this was the next logical step.
You're leaving a hell of a legacy. I got to tell you that. It's powerful. What's the legacy you really want to leave when you leave this earth?
Just that I cared. And I think that, I may have shared this with you before. My father used to have a perspective that when you looked for someone to make a change about some issue or problem, as minors picking a piece of paper up off the floor, or as major as fighting racism or climate change, that the tendency is to wait for they or them, the amorphous they, to solve the problem. Older people, political figures, business figures, someone else will do it. And he'd look at me and he would say, if you wait for that, you could wait forever.
Mhm.
The they is you, son. You're the they. So I think it's about how we all have a responsibility. I've shared with you that I was raised with two core values: treasure relationships, especially family, and try to make a difference in the world and help people who can't help themselves. So, um, frankly, if any of that resonates with other people in their own lives, I mean, it can be as simple as good parenting. It could be as major as resisting climate change, or fighting racism or bullying or sex trafficking or domestic violence. But we all have a contribution to make in our society, and I hope people will get that sense that they matter and they can facilitate change.
Change is the tough thing. We're changing all the time. I don't realize, and it's powerful that you said that. Trust is another word that comes to me. You're a public figure. People know you. You do that Super Bowl party. I think I had a friend go to your party this year and came back, sent me a message like, "Oh my God, Leigh's party was good," because you're giving back. But let's talk to people listening who might have an addiction. They're not a public figure, but some people I talk to are like, I can't tell people this story. I don't trust. I'm afraid. How do they get past that?
The first burden is to get through denial, because drugs or alcohol tell you that you don't have a problem, but the rest of the world has the problem, but it's okay. So the first step in it all is to take a brutally realistic look at yourself and see whether or not you have a problem. I mean, it's pretty clear if you go through bankruptcy, you have a problem. It's pretty clear that if you have cancer, you have a problem. It's pretty clear that if you just had an awful breakup in a marriage, you have a problem. So there's a universality to these uh, different challenges and reverses. But the key is, can you take a brutal look at yourself? And then can you have an epiphany? Mine was, I'm sitting in my deceased father's bedroom at our family home, and I'm sitting there, and my only coherent thought is where I can find more vodka. So all of a sudden, I realized, well, wait a second. I'm not a starving peasant in Somalia. I don't have the last name Steinberg in Nazi Germany in the 40s. I don't have any major diseases or anything. What excuse do I not have to try again? And that was what it took for me to be brutally honest, there's a 12-step program that is very effective in combating addictive behavior. And the first step is realizing that you're powerless over the substance. And once you can get there and realize that you have a problem, then the next step is taking action. And in the book, we outline various ways that you can take action to restore your fulfilling life.
Yeah. And I love to take action because a lot of people talk, especially very wealthy people. I'll just throw money and stuff and talk. But the action part, like you do with your athletes, you told me in the last podcast that bullying is a big part of Patrick Mahomes' part, that you said, hey, you've got to do something. And that's what he does. Do you think athletes like that, because of what you went through 20 years ago, you can understand them better and relate with them better and make you a better agent?
I do, because I had fairly traditional attitudes towards people struggling, which is, why don't they just stop drinking? Why don't they, is this purposeful behavior? It was a foreign concept to me, and I was not a drinker in my early years. I was one beer Steinberg. So this came on me late at age, in my late 50s and 60s. And so I think it gives me a stronger sense of that vulnerability, because Steve, I'd had a very a really nice ride for many, many years, for 35, 40 years in business and in life. And it's why I sort of couldn't recognize my addiction to alcohol before it was too late.
Yeah. This might be a personal question you don't need to answer, but do you think you'd still be here today if you didn't quit drinking?
Well, there's where the denial kicks in. Well, you
Okay.
could die if you think, what do you mean die? But look at I haven't said this before, but when I recovered, I went to the doctor and I had a fatty liver. And that was 18 years ago. I have a totally normal liver now. There was ischemia, which is lack of blood flow to parts of my brain. And now I have a, take this the right way, but a pretty perfect brain structure.
Yeah.
And
Gotcha.
I mean, you can have a million IQ points and not a scintilla of common sense.
Yeah.
But so I think it not that it would happen right away, but when I talk with other alcoholics, they die at a alarming rate, more than the general population. And it may not be diagnosed as alcohol, it might be, a liver problem or a heart attack or some other organ. But I think the honest answer is yes. I think that had I continued, I would have seriously imperiled my health.
Yeah. Okay. Leigh, I'm not a drinker. I haven't had a drink in 20 years. This is a different perspective for me, but you're really impacting people. So I'm going to jump on the bandwagon. Audience, if you reach out to me and tell me that you watch this podcast with Leigh, I'm going to send you his book for free. The first 10 people, because I want to join this, because I love having guests on you like you on here, because I'm out here listening to you. Like, I know what you're going through, but I'm feeling it now of what alcoholism can do. And I appreciate you being transparent about possible deaths. So just reach out to me. You got all my contact info. Just say, hey, I saw Leigh's podcast and I'm going to send you a book. So you either can change your life or impact somebody else's life.
That's so kind of you. And if you're out there and you're struggling, confused, despondent about problems with addictive substances or any of the other things, just know there's hope. There's light at the end of the tunnel. There are 12-step programs with unique fellowships that will help you. You don't have to do this alone. You'll be surrounded by supportive people.
I like that because I was just gonna. You must have read my mind. You've been in my head because you couldn't have done this alone. There had to be a community, a support, family member, whoever it was. Was that a big part of this recovery?
Oh, absolutely. I the unique fellowship, whose name doesn't get talked about publicly, but was amazingly supportive, and I had a sponsor. But I had the kindness of all sorts of people. I remember getting a call from Charles Barkley, who I knew casually, but just out of the blue, I got calls from owners. I tell a story in the book about the fact that when I was trying to uh, reapply for certification to be an agent again, there was a fee that was like 3,000 or some amount of money. A competitive agent, Dennis Gilbert, drove down here to Newport Beach and gave me a check for the money. I mean, there was amazing kindness by uh, all sorts of people. And see, I've always thought that it's easy to be someone's friend day to day. It's easy to have yucks and chuckles and all the rest of it. But where are you when a friend of yours is in some form of trouble, and it may cost you something to be a friend? It may reflect on you somehow. Are you there? And I judge people by where they are in critical situations. I'm not saying I had a divine right to have the help of friends, uh, but man, they showed up in great numbers, and I had always tried to put myself in another person's heart and mind and see the world the way they see it. By listening skills, by drawing out someone until you could understand their deepest anxieties and fears and greatest hopes and dreams. If you can put yourself in the other person's heart and mind and uh, see the world the way they see it and understand their needs. So I had tried to do that for other people throughout life, and it sure resounded back to me.
It's a great lesson for business as well as life. A servant heart. You can't enable everybody. You can't bring negativity into your life. That wouldn't have helped you. Like, Leigh, what are you doing? Why are you drinking? That where's that going to go? It's going to go in deaf ears, right?
Well, the answer to that question is in the heart of addiction. The addict doesn't know. Why do you continue drinking in the midst of adverse consequences? Why would a rational person choose to subject themselves to financial problems, to reputation problems, to legal problems, if you could just stop? The answer is the brain has been converted, so the brain sends out cravings to addicts or alcoholics, and those cravings override the judgment center of the brain, and the system and brain becomes convinced that having the addictive substance is just like breathing. It's like any autonomic function. You don't have to think about whether you're hungry, your body tells you, or whether you have to go to the bathroom, or whether or not you want to make love, or whatever it is. Those, or the fact you have to breathe, those are autonomic. And that addictive behavior, drinking, becomes autonomic also. And I remember one time I was sitting below my condo in a car, and uh, I said to myself, tonight you're not going to drink. Tonight's going to be different. And that thought I held for a few minutes, and then magically somehow my car drove itself to the liquor store, and I was back upstairs in my condo with a big bottle of vodka. And um, uh, that's how seditious and how destabilizing and clever this disease is.
That's a scary story. it's like you don't even realize you're at the you're at the store and coming back and you're drinking vodka. It's like when you drive down the road, go, how do I go from A to B? Which is, we do that all the time. We got so much. You literally just did it. Next thing you know, you drink. That's crazy. Well, that leads to me personally and people listening. I've had people come to me and go, I've got an issue with addiction. How do what would you call the people that aren't addicted, that the support group, what advice would you give us to help somebody with an addiction?
Well, first of all, not be an enabler, which is a position where some people facilitate the addiction, are not aware of it. And so that's the first thing. But second of all, this has to be an internal change that happens inside the alcoholic. There's really not much you can do other than preserve your own health if someone in your circle's that way, by going to Al-Anon or something like that. Take care of yourself. But other than being there when someone wants to talk, you don't have the ability to wish or motivate. Well, you can motivate, but there's not much, which is really disturbing to people whose kids or someone in their circle is. There's not much you can do other than nudge the person to break denial, but that's denial, which is, I don't have a problem, and push you away.
Yeah. And I think of the person that's drinking and driving, which I don't know if that was your case, it might have been, doesn't matter, that I still get, okay, you're not that drunk, here's the keys. No, take those keys. That's enabling. That's kind of where you're going with this. Right. That's what I'm thinking.
Well, and enabling is, someone has an alcoholic problem, but you go out drinking with them.
Simple. I mean, that's the wrong word, but it's as really as easy as that. Just don't go drinking. Yeah. Say no. God, this is such a great show. Sports, business, life. I think that's why I love sports. And of course, you're involved in sports. What have you learned in sports to help with your recovery?
There's a set of qualities that athletes have. One of which is self-discipline. And they have discipline about what they eat and how they train. They put in enormous amounts of time under the surface preparing for what they do. Athletes are surrounded by a support group, and we as humans have a need for that support by other people. We don't do well alone, and it's just part of evolution and how we were acculturated and conditioned over time. Athletes understand watching each other's backs. Athletes understand courage under pressure. Athletes know in adverse situations how to compartmentalize. Quarterback's throwing a couple interceptions, the crowd is booing, the center's looking at the quarterback like he must be on hallucinogens for his play call. What do you do then? Can you adopt a quiet mind, compartmentalize, tune out extraneous impulses, and rise to the occasion to take your game to another level in those critical situations? And you can see in a sport like football, so many of the games now come down to the fourth quarter, the last drive, or the last play. So they're critical moments in life. And then patience, the understanding that everything can't happen at once, that it's a long process. I used to tell athletes, stay in process. Do those things in training and practice and simulating a playbook and all the rest of it that will lead you to the right result. Don't be obsessed with, where am I on the roster? What am I doing? How many people are in training camp? Tune all of that out and stay in the process of making those steps and doing those things that will ultimately inure to your success.
What you did for your recovery. Exactly. You just weren't in sports. You were just in life. No different.
It was all work. Once I got through denial, I just threw myself into it, and I I went to every conference, I read every book, I did, I was on overdrive.
The beautiful thing, Leigh, is anybody can do it. Not just Leigh Steinberg. Anybody you listening out there can do this. Doesn't matter where you are in life, what level of success. It doesn't matter. Anybody can do this, especially with the right support team. Before we end, do you want to shout out to anybody that helped you get this comeback? Any particular people? If not, that's okay. But I want to give you the time to thank those people.
I had a wonderful sponsor, Dwight H. My kids stuck with me, John, Matt, and Katie. We had a great roommate, Tom V. And I'm trying not to break anybody who actually has a problem standing there.
Yeah, you gotcha.
And it was just amazing people around me.
Thank you for doing that. I always want to give a shout out because, again, look at how big that group was of people that helped you.
Well, Troy Aikman stuck with me, and he wrote the foreword to my book.
Yeah, I'm excited to read that. I want to get the book to read that. Big Troy Aikman fan, by the way. I think he's doing a great job broadcasting, but we're going off it. I want to thank you again. Again, where can they get the book or connect with what you're doing?
So until March 24th, which is the launch date, the publishing date, you can pre-order the book by going to Barnes & Noble or Amazon.com and put a pre-order, and you get it hot off the press. And after that, you could still buy off the internet, but you can bookstores. I love books, and
I can tell.
I love books. I read 3 or 4 a week. I have a book club on Facebook that's got almost 3,000 members, and I still love the printed word. And I think it's just so important. I'm also curious about everything in life, and I want to read newspapers and magazines and talk to interesting people. I just keep learning and learning and learning.
That's powerful. And that's a great lesson for all of you. And, audience, if you have somebody dealing with an addiction, share this podcast with them. You can message me, get the book again, just SteveR1961 at Gmail. You can email me, mention the podcast, and I'll send you a book, the pre-order. But share this podcast, subscribe to my YouTube channel, any others. I've got a couple of people I'm going to share this podcast with because Leigh just gave you the roadmap, the playbook of how to recover from addiction. Let's start saving lives. You saved your life. Let's start saving others. With that being said, I want to thank everybody. Me and Leigh want to thank everybody for watching or listening to this podcast. And we'll see you all in the next episode of Doing Business with a Servant's Heart. Have a great day, everyone.
Thank you.